Good. All right, call the city council workshop Friday, wish it was Friday. February 10th, 2025, 6 PM, roll call.
Joe Von Toma.
Toby Nelson.
Sam Solars.
Michelle Otto.
Jessica Bonniwell. Jackie Hines.
Dan Reamer.
All right, down to business. Volunteer fair discussion.
Mayor and council, staff has been discussing this, and we wanted to have a discussion with you guys about what your expectations are for this event and sort of some direction on what we're gonna need to provide as far as the city, and then what groups we would like to have involved with this, and how those groups are going to be communicated with and recruited for this event, since staff doesn't have contacts for all the groups, so. I did get some information from Councilmember Paradise since he was unable to attend this evening. He thinks that some of the groups that should be involved are the Lions, Grace Place, Celebrate Montrose, city commissions, the chamber, any group based in Montrose that purpose serves the community and those around us. And then just sort of like what he would recommend for materials as far as like tables, chairs, refreshments. And then each group would provide their own materials and signage for their booth. Each group would be given access to set up 2 hours prior to the event, a welcome table with a list of who is there for the attendees, and then each group can have their own sign-up sheet for interested volunteers.
Thoughts?
I don't know if there's
You-
other
You
groups.
didn't list it in there, but did you add the fire department in there also?
We did not add the fire department, that
I think they
certainly could
should. They're
be-
always looking for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys would just have to have somebody that's willing to be there, and if you guys want any, literature or material,
Yeah,
pamphlets, flyers.
Kevin and the officer group should have everything
That kind
that
of
they need
stuff.
for hiring and all the
Okay.
information, but yeah, I think they should too also.
Yep.
Do you have Boy Scouts on there?
It is not listed, but I know that's one we have talked about, because we weren't sure who to contact for that, or,
It's still Greg.
okay. Great. Any other suggestions for different groups? And then, is anybody willing to contact some of these people? Celebrate Montrose? Are you willing to? Yeah, are you willing to like pass the message on there? Okay.
Michelle, with Celebrate Montrose, should we see if the royalty wants to also?
Royalty can
As
also.
just do it together as
Yep.
the whole city celebration. I think that'd be good. They're always looking for new candidates for next year.
I did bring this up to Kim at Grace Place. I also reached out to Principal Steffes at MESI, seeing if he possibly wanted a booth also. He said he'd think about it and get back to me.
Like just for the school, or
Yeah,
to get
because
volunteers for the school, or?
because they do a lot of volunteering too during the year, whether it's bingo or whatever else they have going on. They're
Do
always
you still have their parent committee?
kind of. So, but yeah, told him I'd be in touch when we got closer to the date. I think it's a good list. Anyone we're missing, or?
No, I think it's a pretty good list. I think each one of them having a booth set up with all their information and like I think Dave's suggestion was maybe some light refreshments, some cookies or something, just
Yeah,
to-
and we can certainly provide that. I just don't want to get too wrapped up in providing stuff for their booth, like
Right.
printing out and
No,
organizing all that for
That
them.
should be all on them.
As far as like city booths, like for the commissions, we are going to try to talk to our commissions that we have and see if somebody from the commission or more than one person is willing to come to the event, just to have some representation and be able to talk to people about, what it's like being on the commission and try and get some interest going with that. Obviously, staff would be involved with that at some level. And then what would we, just having like the commission descriptions and sort of the applications, or anything else you would want us to provide? Do you have any questions, Christy?
I think with I'm not real familiar with, I'm planning and zoning, but with like Park and Rec, I think we should have, like the things that they do so that people can see it and maybe, I know like for Celebrate Montrose, I'm hoping what we do is put like a little board together of the events that we have, you know, and things that we're looking for and places that we want people to, you know, maybe participate in. Because with their, and, you know, like the movies in the park and whatnot, just kind of showing what each group does and, you know, the event dates that they have coming up where they may need help, so.
Yeah, I think you're right, Michelle, like just showing what each group does, because there's probably a lot of people in this town that don't know what each one of these groups does, and that might be
Right.
something that they want to get involved in the future.
Yeah,
Knowing that, oh, hey, I know this really well, I could help out with that, so I think
Yep.
that's a good idea.
yeah. I mean, they may not want to be on the board, but maybe a day or 2 hours or something,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So I am working with a group out of St. Cloud that they work through St. Cloud, which is Sherburne County, I think, and then Wright County, where they have volunteers that are 55 plus that help in different aspects within the communities. So I just reached out to her last week, and she would be willing to come out too, you know, maybe reach out to the senior, try and get more seniors involved in doing things, which would help out at Grace Place, because that's where all, you know. And with that group, they reimburse like mileage and that kind of stuff for volunteering, so
Okay.
maybe see if they want to come. Your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the more opportunities that we can show, you know, I think it's really gonna help out.
And then as far as advertising, it would be helpful to get an idea or a list of the groups that will participate so that we can, you know, include that in some advertising. We'd like to get that going sooner than later, to get the word out there. So when do you guys have another meeting?
Sunday.
Okay. And then the Lions, does anybody,
They're on the third Monday. I always contact Judy.
Judy Slonik?
I'm not sure who their president is right now.
Yeah, usually with the Lions, it's best just to go to their meetings
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
Is anybody willing to do that as council member?
I can do that because I need them to start participating with us,
Okay.
so.
I'll take care of the fire department, don't worry.
Okay.
Got that locked up.
Would it take one for the team?
Any other questions? Direction? Do we have enough direction to get going?
I mean, I haven't really had time even hearing what you guys are saying, to be honest, but I'm catching enough that I think we can figure something out.
So, are you gonna reach out to Greg for Boy Scouts? I usually, when I put out like our emails, I go to even the churches, the Methodist church here, which is Kimberly. I would have to go look.
Would that be for the Boy Scouts, would that be to recruit like Boy Scouts or to recruit like volunteers as like parents?
Oh, I don't know. Well, recruit Boy Scouts, I guess. But we don't really wanna do, that's not what we're looking to do.
No, we're not really looking to have a
So,
kid
no.
event, so.
Yeah,
Because
I'd do the
if you do Boy Scouts, then it'd be, why didn't you do Girl Scouts?
Right,
because we don't have one.
right.
We don't have anybody.
Why didn't you do wrestling? Why didn't you do
Yeah.
baseball?
Yeah,
So on
yeah.
and so forth.
I wish we had a Girl
Well,
Scout group around.
I think we want to keep it away from trying to recruit kids for stuff.
Right.
Yes,
Right,
at this
right.
point, at this time.
Yep.
This is a separate event, so.
Yeah.
Are there any other groups anybody can think of, or maybe if you think of one in the next few days to a week, so we can start getting some advertising put together, and start working on that? We can also put something up on the, like, sign, kind of asking if anybody is interested in, like, having their group come, and we can
Yep.
see if it would fit into, you know,
we're
sort of
doing.
the goal of the event, so.
Yeah. I can't think of any other groups off the top of my head. Should we give it
Yeah,
a week?
okay. Yeah, we just kind of wanted to get some direction to kind of start moving that way and thinking about advertising.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyone else
And then
got-
this would be a free event for any of these groups participating, obviously. We wouldn't be charging any booth prices or anything like that, and then we would provide refreshments, providing you guys are okay with that.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully we can get some people to come.
What is hours? What is
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea for hours?
Yeah, so it's supposed to start at 6:30 on April 30th. So do we want to go for like like an hour or 2 hours, hour and a half? 6:30 to 8, or,
I'd say 6:30 to 8.
That works.
good question, good job. Okay,
6:30
6:30,
sound good?
That works.
it's a good time, it
I think
hits
so.
people after work, and
April
Yep.
30th?
April 30th,
30th.
6:30 PM.
After work, after dinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else to add? Nope. Okay. All right, moving along. Newsletter discussion.
I believe you wanted this added.
Yep.
Here's yours.
So just kind of looking through things here, and I'd asked Jackie to kind of pull some numbers on how much we actually spend on the newsletter per year. It comes up to almost $11,000 a year. So it got me thinking, kind of what can we do to kind of cut that cost a little bit? I thought about doing some digital stuff and maybe cutting back on how many we actually send out. 'Cause I don't know about you, but there's a lot of people I've talked to that they just don't even read it and they just kind of throw it away. And I get it; it's got a bunch of information for residents and whatnot, but at what point are we just throwing money away here? So I was thinking if we can do kind of a digital copy and then cut down what we actually send out, kind of cut down on what we spend there.
How do you determine what to cut on mailing?
That's why we're talking right now.
There were some cities when I reached out to them who, basically all of them, they do a combo, they still print, and they've actually started where you can opt in to get an emailed copy, which would obviously cut down on printing costs because it's, so I'm not sure how we could do that, if it's possible, something we would have to figure out, but that could be something that we could look at, and at least it would start cutting back on the number printed.
Right.
It'd be a start.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a good place to start. Now they charge by page.
Correct.
Okay.
And then quantity, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, we would have to figure out logistics to do something like that, but I'm sure we
I mean,
could.
if we cut it to, one page front and back, I think we're gonna be cutting some costs there too.
Well, I think from what I looked back, the majority of ours were like 12 pages. There was a couple 16 pagers in there. So obviously that bumps up the cost, that's 16. But,
Right.
Maybe we look at keeping it to a certain number of pages. Maybe we look at 12 and under. Or I don't know what that magic number would be, but maybe that's part of a discussion as well. I know it fluctuates with what people want in there, and it makes it harder that way as well. So I don't know if that even would be an option.
Well, and if you wanted to cut back to like a one page, you'd have to cut a lot of that community stuff out.
I mean, yes and no. It really gets to kind of depend on how you formatted everything.
Yeah,
Obviously we couldn't do a full page ad on things, but
right.
I mean, do most things require a half or a full page?
right.
I mean, how much of it's filler? Can we cut it down to 4 on each page? In certain situations, it's not going to work out for everything.
Right.
And you're not gonna cut a lot. I don't think you're gonna get down to 1 or 2 pages. I just don't see that necessarily, at least not to start.
Right.
Maybe
Unless-
eventually you do end up there.
Unless we change the policy or procedure about what we put in there. Cut some of the fluff, I guess, and
Right.
But you could make, I mean, instead of having 1 or 2 on a page, you
cut
could
it
have
back.
4.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just have to worry about things getting too small,
Yep,
people who need large print
yep.
reading that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, those are real things to think about, right? That's our audience, so.
I know with like the events that we do, and the same thing with Grace Place, people save the flyers, so I don't want to see that we take, take it away, but
Yeah, Kim at Grace Place said that a lot of people come in and look at the newsletter there, because that's kind of a community resource spot. Yeah,
Again, maybe like Jackie said, we give somebody, an option for an email version. And, if we do, print out 200 or so or whatnot, and anything we can do just to kind of cut down that cost. Again, I don't want to get rid of the newsletter. I mean, it's a great resource for people, and just how much is being wasted.
I mean, there's a lot that's wasted, and even the amount that we have in-house that is left over is a lot. So I guess we'll talk about it a little bit throughout the office, and I would say over the course of the next year, we could really work on whittling that list down. I would start with the next copy, literally having a full page dedicated to, if you want to continue to do this, and we could just we could have a link set up, a generic link that tells us opt in here. I mean, if you get the newsletter, and you can't use the newsletter to opt into the newsletter, then you don't want the newsletter, right? So it'd be a great way to do that. With our new billing system, we have an opportunity to, you can grab different areas of the city and just isolate them and be like, hey, we want to send a message to this neighborhood, to this street, to this. And we could just kind of keep going through and doing that throughout the year, you don't want to inundate people.
Right.
But it would be even helpful to make sure that the information we have is updated in our system. Is your email accurate? All of the contact information. And so I don't think it's something we could do overnight, but have, create the newsletter, try to condense it, cut it down, not block it out. Just people do like those advertisements. They do like those, and have a digital copy, have it online, post the link everywhere so people can start accessing it that way. And just whittling it down through the course of the next year.
Yep.
And seeing at the end of the year, how many are we really needing? What are we, I mean, it's very realistic. We're always gonna have some version of a paper copy if we decide to keep that. Because that's just the population here. But we could probably cut it down by, I bet you we'd be sending a third out compared to how many we are. And it probably would be places like, go pick your newsletter up at Grace Place, or at, just different things like that for people that are out and about. But I think we could do a great job of marketing those people and finding out who's really interested and who isn't throughout the next year, and cutting, make a goal to cutting those costs down by the end of the year.
I think on the safe side, though, it'd be opt into the digital copy, not opt into the paper copy.
What's that?
I would rather see it opt into the digital copy than opt into, than to opt into the paper copy.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna totally alienate anybody that doesn't have to use a computer.
which
And
is,
we'd have to get
I know there's not a lot, but there is some.
which is a lot of people, yeah.
Right.
A lot of the people that are wanting that paper copy, right, don't have
They
access
don't
to
have
it.
access to the internet or don't use email.
So we'll have to figure out some way to reach people and probably have them, either opt in or figure out some way to do
But I
that.
mean, if you do opt in and we get rid of a third of the addresses, that's a savings. I mean,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up. It's just, again, like you said, I mean, you got boxes sitting around City Hall that are just, might as well just burn the money while we're at it, so.
but even though I use computers, I still like that. I do like that physical copy.
I always have one in my car.
I don't know why, but
It's kind of like the packet.
it's like people's with regular books and the packet.
Yes, regular books, right, all the way.
Well, I mean, and like with the packet, while I do have an iPad and I haven't brought it today, but I do prefer the paper copy. It's easier to follow for me.
That's fair. All right.
Are you, is that a good answer that we can?
Yeah.
And then I think that would be a good project for an administrative assistant to sort of work on that and work on not just making it more efficient in general, like the layout of it, but also working on opting people into a digital copy.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It'd be a great job for that person to get familiar with stuff.
Get to know everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and like Dan just said too, we could, in 2026 too, right? Like, once we whittle down that list, we could do 2 a year instead of 4, right? We can
Yep.
also cut costs by doing less of that.
Right.
You just have to be a little more proactive, looking your stuff in.
Yep.
Be nice, Christie. Come on.
I'm like, I'm looking at you.
We usually come back 3 days after the date. Do we still have time? No.
All right. Any other discussion on that? Nope.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
I
All right.
All opposed? We are adjourned, 6:21.
That's crazy.
Huh?
What? Nice drum.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
the
what?
name is the same, yeah, it's not the
They're
same.
nuts. They are nuts.
Well, did you see what Seago was paying? 35,000, 34,000.
I think we should have bound hard copies mailed to every address twice a year
I know they're bigger and.
with a
they use
list
like
of
a
everybody
company
that
to do
lives
the whole
here.
thing. Yeah.
8,100 printed and 7,000 mailed? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and like 100 of them go to the apartments. Simmer, at least, no, 175
Okay, so
of them probably go to apartments.
how many are sitting there now?
So we don't keep.
We don't keep them all, no.
No, 'cause it
We
goes in
usually
bulk.
end up with about 50, like to sit at City Hall and people come and pick them up and.
Like I said, we can whittle it down.
I mean, if you're talking about cutting 10 off of the end, what's the point?
Yeah, right.
If we're cutting 10.
If you're cutting like half though, that's.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I mean, that's why, like I said, let people opt in, if we can get rid of a third of them even.
I mean, the biggest cost I think too is the number of pages,
Yes.
so.
Do we have a spot on our webpage where we can put the newsletter?
Yeah, we can make one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I talked to Chrissy this afternoon about if we can get it set up through the e-notify you and the newsletters out, you get email.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we can like tag a page or whatever, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy. I think it's a lot faster, like when I've been doing
I was trying to figure out if there's any restrictions on somebody riding a snowmobile.